This has been a great year for the cloud stocks, but bizarrely, not as great as it should be for VMware, which is the leading maker of virtualization software, the very thing that makes the cloud possible by allowing you to run multiple virtual machines on a single physical server. They've also got a big cloud onboarding business, which I love, yet VMware stock is still down a few bucks from its pre-COVID levels. The reason? Well, actually, this is a little tricky. Because VMware is a subsidiary of Dell, and investors are always worrying about what Dell wants to do with them. Something that I actually regard as an abstraction, because I don't think Michael Dell wants to hurt anybody. But that's because of my knowledge of him. You see, VMware's got a lot going for it. They reported an excellent quarter in late August. Then a few weeks ago, they held a conference where they unveiled a new multi-cloud strategy, announced an acquisition, SaltStack, for automation. Also told us about some big partnerships with Zscaler and my favorite, NVIDIA. Finally, the stock feels like it's got some mojo. So can it keep running? Let's dig deeper with Sanjay Poonen. He's VMware's chief operating officer. Get a better sense of where his company's headed. Mr. Poonen, welcome back to Mad Money.
Jim, always a pleasure to be with you. Thank you very much.
Sanjay, you had something that people should be talking about. You had VMworld, which is a huge, huge confab, and you had some great speakers. What came of it?
Yeah, Jim, it's one of the biggest tech conferences, that along with reInvent and a few others. We had 150,000 registrants. I suspect at the end of it, we'll have 500,000 people watching it, 3,000 minutes of content, and some incredible. There were probably three takeaways. Number one, in terms of the news, we are really excited about bringing AI to the masses. And you mentioned NVIDIA, Jensen Huang, good friend of ours. We're really going to bring his AI stack, GPUs, and all of what he's built to the operating system of the data center, which is VMware. Secondly, a lot going on in security. We've become now a leading cybersecurity company. We've kind of really made Carbon Black a real success, and we're bringing it to the data centers to protect workloads like never before. And we announced a partnership with Zscaler, a leading player in this work-from-home security category. And then the third big announcement was a lot of what we're doing in the multi-cloud world. Jim, we've never had an event where everybody in the cloud has come to our tent. AWS, Azure, Google, Oracle, IBM. At $5 trillion worth of market cap at our event because they see these 85 million workloads of VMware, and they're saying, listen, we want to help customers alongside VMware, and that's what we've seen. AWS, obviously, our preferred partner, but we're seeing good traction with Azure and all the other clouds. We want to be that indispensable player for the hybrid cloud, whether it's private or public cloud.
You're also talking about, it very much in the news, VMware's place in 5G. Yesterday, Apple debuted its new line of 5G. I'm very excited about it. It looks like you want to become the operating system of 5G.
Well, what's happening in 5G? It's a very astute point, Jim, that you point out. We announced some really good partnerships earlier with Dish and also with Vodafone. What's happening? 5G is typically, disintermediating this telco stack. Typically, the telco stack has been vertically integrated by network equipment providers. Hardware, software, services, and expensive because it's fairly proprietary. 5G comes at it at an angle and disrupts it, takes it apart, and you can do things on commodity hardware with software often driven out of open source capabilities. And VMware is finding incredible success in the core of the network, in the radio access network, and that's what we announced. Vodafone is seeing opportunity to get 50% reduction in their costs and make themselves twice as productive and agile. Same with what we're seeing in early days with Dish. So we're very excited. There's only 300 telcos in the world, and maybe 30 of them that really matter. VMware is now going to become the best company in the software era to power that 5G revolution.
All right, so now talk to me about security, because you've made some acquisitions. We have to be big fans of Zscaler. We've had them on the show multiple times. How's that working?
Jay Chaudhry is a great CEO, a good friend, and we partnered with him because we want to make security simple. Da Vinci said, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. The problem in security is it's complex. And we've got to make it Sesame Street simple for chief security officers who've just got way too many tools. I came early this morning from talking to chief security officer who had 40 different tools. And 10 or 15 of them, Jim, are like agents sitting on the laptop and more agents sitting on the server, hundreds of alerts and clients. We're just going to make this simple. And when a large player with the R&D muscle and the go-to-market muscle of VMware gets into the security space, watch out, because what we're going to do is really, make it in the network, in the endpoint and workload and cloud security much simpler and integrated. So we're best of breed in many of these areas. We've talked about this in the previous show. And in certain places where we have some gaps, we go and pick some best of breed partners. Zscaler is an example of a partner. Okta is an example of a partner in identity.
Well, you know we like them.
And we're going to pick those. Yeah, they're great companies. And these are best-of-breed players in their spheres who will partner with our platform, and in network security with NSX, in endpoint and workload security with Carbon Black, and in cloud security with Cloud Health, we're best of breed. Pick a few of these partners, go deep, and simplify the proposition for chief security
officers.
officers.
Sanjay, what you've described is what I see my kids doing. They are in the workforce. They are working at 6 a.m. because you no longer have to go anywhere. You stay at home. And they're working to 8 p.m. And they have what I describe as Zoom fatigue because that's all they do. It's, we used to be able to have breakfast, go to work, come home for dinner. It's not like this anymore because of all these great things that you're talking about. How do we balance the physical and mental health with these people? Because you know what? They're not used to this. They don't know how to do it.
Well, I'm not sure Eric Yuan would agree with Zoom fatigue, but he's a good friend too.
Man, we like
and we're
Eric.
delighted and we're so happy that Zoom exists. I mean, think about it. When I was last time in this pandemic in 2008, Jim, I was at SAP and we were all in this small room sitting around a telepresence machine and it was so hot and only 10 or 15 people could sit in the thing. Now, when I saw Zoom first, it's on my phone, it's beautiful. But we obviously want to balance work and life and not be in this place where both are physical and mental health. So as important as the physical health is important, and we're obviously helping companies through the pandemic, mental health is equally important. We've just adopted some best practices, and we think we're going to create the Work 2.0, the future workforce where we make it the best to be able to work in any location. I recently had a lady who was going to do a global demand gen job, and initially we would have thought she could have done that job from Palo Alto only. She's now doing that job from Sydney and doing an incredible job. We want to make VMware the best place to work. And then on the absence of that, on the end of each day, each person's got to find their personal space by which they figure out the things that trample in them back to work. Every day for me, it's my faith, my family, my friends. And I've got a routine, whether it's biking or whatever have you, that lets you get prepared for the next day. Because we're going to be in this, Jim, for potentially the long haul.
I know. Well, look, I count on you for inspiration because you often think about inspirational things beyond just the bottom line. That's why we love you. Sanjay Poonen, COO of VMware. Great to see you again, sir.
Thank you very much, Jim. Always a pleasure.
Man, Bunny, be back after the break.